we're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Monday, July 14th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Park Ki-hoon.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Monday. And Kwon Ju-yeon.
Happy Monday.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Monday, which means we're kicking off a brand new work week. I hope everyone had a restful weekend and managed to stay cool, though with the kind of heat we've been seeing lately, I know that's easier said than done. The summer temperatures have been relentless, making it tough to enjoy outdoor plans. And as the heat drags on, it's not just uncomfortable, it's starting to raise real concerns about our health as well as our environment. So Kyun, how have you been coping with the extreme heat?
Not very well, to be honest. I'm sure like everyone else was suffering from the heat wave. As much as I try to avoid the heat, I sometimes try to fight it, which sounds a little odd, but yesterday I played almost 4 hours of soccer in the morning from like as early as 5:30 a.m., which is considered, I guess, less hot during the day compared to during the day. Some may think I'm a little crazy playing soccer outdoors, but once you sweat it all out, take a warm shower, hydrate yourself and eat well with good quality sleep, you actually feel more energized and become more, I guess, tolerant to the heat. At least that's what I experienced. And also staying under the AC is always good, but you can actually get sick from overexposure to air conditioning. And I've seen a lot of people get sick lately, catching a cold. So I think maintaining the adequate feel-like temperature throughout the day is key to staying cool and not catching a cold. And of course, like I mentioned in previous episodes, hydrating yourself with room temperature water is much better than ice cold water.
I know you said you went out at 5:30 when it's less hot, but I still feel like if you played for 4 hours, it would have eventually gone hot. So I'm wondering if you have high tolerance against heat?
Because I'm from Australia. Down under where it's much hotter than cold. Yeah,
does make sense. What about you, Chu-yeon?
Not from Australia, so it's been boiling hot lately. So I try to stay cool as much as possible. And with the kids, we have frequent showers every day and mostly travel by car in order to avoid those heat weather. We run the air conditioner on soft cooling mode, which is 무풍바람 in Korean, on a daily basis every night. So because that's the only way to sleep. And I also make sure that they eat well during the summer season, especially summer dishes that help their energy up. Like we in Korea, we have samgyetang, or traditional ginseng chicken soup. We've been doing all we can except moving to Ireland or Australia.
So we've also talked about eorcheo, which is like fighting heat with heat by eating hot food before on the show. And also I can't imagine sleeping without the AC on these days, but I do feel like I start coughing because I think it gets a bit dry. So that's like but I mean, I can't sleep without the AC.
Me
so
neither.
It is what it is, I guess. So we've also been seeing more and more damage caused by heat waves. So Kyun, can you walk us through what it's been like and share some of the recent impacts you've seen or heard about?
Sure. Last Tuesday on the 8th, Seoul recorded the hottest day this year, reaching 37.8 degrees Celsius, and the hottest temperature in early July since weather-related data began being recorded in 1907 and breaking the 118-year record. The intense nationwide heat has caused a surge in heat-related illnesses, and according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, there was an increase of 83% year-on-year in the number of heat-related illnesses, and 7 people have died so far from heat stroke, more than double the number of deaths recorded in 2024. Furthermore, roads are experiencing plastic deformation with asphalt bulging or being pushed outward, and also livestock are dying one after another because of the heat. Plus, starting today, the government implemented new regulations requiring employers to provide outdoor workers with at least 20-minute break every 2 hours during periods of extreme heat.
So it's clear that these heat waves are impacting our daily lives as well, but it's not just heat waves. We've also seen other extreme weather events too, right? So Chu-yeon, can you tell us more about those and what kind of impact they've had?
Of course, well, rumor has it that this summer could break even more records again and again. With the monsoon season effectively over, experts now warn that the extreme heat may stretch into August and possibly into November, with t-shirt wearing lasting late into autumn like last year. And extreme weather isn't just new. We have these heat and also sudden downpours are also causing lots of problem. I expect you remember that the unexpected downpour the other day, not a hint of it in the forecast. And it was on the 8th of July, a surprise storm flooded roads and train services were halted. This kind of extreme weather isn't new. Last year, we had an unusually long summer and the heaviest snowfall in 117 years. The real concern is that this climate change hits vulnerable communities the hardest. In one survey, 74% of children from low-income households were affected by heat waves, flooding, and even pest outbreaks. That is all linked to climate crisis. So yes, the weather may be unpredictable, but for some, it's more than just an inconvenience for them.
So with the effects of extreme weather becoming more visible, like the ones you've mentioned, it raises the questions of how different generations are also responding to this. So Kyun, how aware are millennials and Gen Zs about the climate crisis? And would you say there is a stronger sense of urgency among these younger generations?
Yes, the MZ generation has directly experienced climate change and its crisis, and they're a generation that recognizes the seriousness of the issue. The recent heat wave has further heightened their sense of urgency, and so in their daily lives, they actively practice environmentally conscious behaviors. For them, environmental protection is not about being a good citizen, but rather about being a self-interested citizen trying to protect their own life. So instead of thinking, can I really make a difference from what I do? They believe there's no reason for me to further contribute to environmental destruction and make things worse. And because the climate crisis is an imminent and personal issue, a new term has been coined and has been emerging that combines MZ and eco, that kind of translates in Korean to MZeco. So we're becoming the MZeco generation.
When these new terms approach, that's when, things are starting to kick off.
It's trending, of course.
Right. So Jian, why do you think Gen Z millennials tend to be more alert to climate change, and how is that awareness translating into real life action?
Well, as Kyun mentioned, the younger generation is more aware of the climate crisis these days, because for them, it's not just about future, it is about their future linked to their lives. They know they will be the ones dealing with this problem for decades to come. Environmental education in schools, along with easy access to information through YouTube channels and social media, has also shaped their awareness. As a result, Gen Zs are actively changing their lifestyles. Many choose second-hand fashion over fast fashion, adopt plant-based diets, and look for alternative meats like tofu and mushrooms. Teachers and climate educators often speak highly of how proactive and informed this generation is. And they also take part in lots of activities, movements in their lives, like plogging, picking up rubbish while jogging, and beach combing, walking along the shore to pick up some waste and lost item. And they practice zero waste living, which is all about reusing, recycling, and refusing single-use items as part of their daily habit. So Gen Z isn't just living green, they are actually leading it.
Right, so this obviously isn't a crisis that's unique to Korea. Kyun, how have extreme weather conditions been affecting other countries around the world?
It's not just happening here in Korea. Europe, Japan, and the United States are all experiencing frequent heat-related deaths, blackouts, and wildfires due to abnormal weather conditions. So in France, underground power lines overheated from extreme heat have caused power outages. Some tourist destinations like Greece have even restricted tourist access due to the heat wave. Additionally, there is a global rise in what is being called climate depression, a type of depressive disorder defined by the American Psychological Association. It refers to the underlying anxiety people face, asking, how are we supposed to live under such extreme climate conditions? And sadly, young people are more affected by this type of disorder, emerging disorder, more than the older generation, as they face the prospect of living longer in Earth under worsening climate conditions.
So, Chiyun, what about Gen Zs and millennials overseas? How are they responding to the climate crisis, and what kind of actions have they been taking?
Well, the younger generation overseas are also showing some strong interest in environmental issues as well. In the US and Europe, secondhand shopping is quite common, and recycling and upcycling are part of their everyday life. When I was in the UK, I saw many parents visiting those secondhand shops with their kids. It was kind of a weekend outing, really. In countries like Germany and Sweden, many young people actively participate in climate protest. And it's clear that Greta Thunberg, the well-known young climate activist, has really inspired this generation. She made a speech at 2019 UN Climate Action Summit. She was only 15 years old, and soon after, she captured the world's attention with her powerful words. Do you remember that?
How dare you?
That is right. That's right. How dare you? How dare you? She said that several times. Well, her powerful speeches at global forums inspired millions of young people to speak up.
I think it's really telling that it's the young people that are truly getting involved in this. So to learn more about how other countries are experiencing and responding to the climate crisis, we're going to connect with someone from Spain, a country that has faced its own extreme heat waves and shifting weather patterns in recent years. And that conversation will take right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
We're joined today by Lara Benito, who's from Spain and is currently working as a singer here in Korea. Hi, Lara. Thanks so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, how are you?
We're good. So Spain was also hit hard by the heat wave, right? What have you heard about the situation there?
Well, Spain has been hit extremely hard by the 2025 heat wave. Apparently, it has registered some of the historically highest temperatures in history, exceeding 40 degrees just as of June. But historically, Spain is actually the hottest in August. So I cannot imagine how hot it's going to get, especially in the south. And alongside the intense heat wave, Spain has also been hit by something that is known as a dana, which in English is called cut-off low or cold drop. So basically a high altitude storm system that brings sudden intense rain, which we have also sort of experienced here with all these sudden rains. But these have caused extreme storms, flash floods, and sadly disappearances of people. The most recent one being a woman and her child who have been missing for several days, and except the intensive rescue operations, they cannot be found still.
So it is like a global phenomenon that everyone is experiencing. So are people in Spain also interested in environmental issues? And if so, what are some ways they're putting in that interest, putting that interest into action? Sorry.
Yeah, so definitely Spanish youth are very deeply engaged, and about 82% of Spaniards view climate change as the top challenge of our century. There's a movement called Fridays for Future that is seeing a high participation in Spain. Apart from that, we have protests, but also I think it's the young people who are most interested into recycling. In Spain, recycling is not as strong or as heavy as it is in Korea. It's something optional, something that you can do, but it's not mandatory as in Korea. So the younger generation is the one who is actually actively recycling, reusing, and as you guys have said, upcycling everything.
I see, Lala. Then, given the urgency of climate crisis, what do you think we should be doing right now, both individually or collectively? And collectively, that is.
Well, individually, it's actually very complicated. It's very limited of what we can do, apart from recycling and doing everything we can to reduce everything like waste and all those kind of unneeded things. But in the case of Spain, it's actually a very sad case because Spain is one of the most naturally gifted countries in Europe, and when it comes to renewable energy. But the country has not been tapping into that. And by a European study, according to studies, if Spain fully exploited its natural renewable resources, it could not only become self-sufficient, but also a net exporter of clean electricity to the rest of Europe. So we could be providing electricity, like clean electricity, and this would solve a huge part of the environmental problems right now.
And it's quite interesting to hear that it's young people in Spain as well as it's because it's exactly in Korea too. It's young people that are taking action and recycling and upcycling, like you said. So that's also really interesting. So thank you so much for sharing your insight today and for connecting with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we've just heard from someone from Spain who's living in Korea sharing their perspective on how both countries are coping with the extreme heat and climate challenges. Now to wrap up our discussion, let's focus on what we can each do in our daily lives. What are some simple actions or mindset changes that everyone can start adopting today to help tackle the climate crisis, Kyun?
Just to reiterate what we mentioned throughout today's episode, some practical actions we can collectively take to tackle climate crisis could be eating more plant-based meals, cutting down single-use plastics and recycling properly, and even taking shorter showers. But in terms of mindsets, I think shifting your thoughts of maybe I'm not doing enough, would this really help change the world, to every step I take adds up, I'm doing this to improve my quality of life here on Earth, and finally focusing on progress, not perfection, and trying to work in groups and communities can really amplify the positive impact you make to the environment. And I think, when we talk about climate change, it seems like a big kind of global issue that I really can't do much to change things. But like we've been talking about all day, these little things really accumulate and make big differences. So if everyone has a similar mindset, and when we can work in groups and communities, that's when we start making a big impact, like a positive impact. And then it starts with small things, but people don't really think about these small things when they live their everyday lives. But look, we've experienced like the hottest early July temperature here in Seoul, and we've had so many heat-related illnesses, and it is a very serious issue, and this can happen to us, the younger generation as well. Even though we talk about it affects the vulnerable people, the young children and the older people, but it will soon affect us, and we are the ones who need to live much longer than our older generation here in Earth. So I think we should really come together and think more about this, and the leaders as well need to really address this issue more and more instead of talking about the economy, politics. I think this really ties down to our everyday lives.
Right, like you said, while it's important to talk about the economy and politics as well, it's important to remember that I think that's also why young people are the ones getting involved,
Right.
is that we're the ones that will inherit this planet. So it's basically, like you said, it's important to remember that tackling climate crisis isn't just about being perfect. So what about you, Chiyun? Do you have any advice?
I do think that the environmental issues are also linked to the politics and economy, all linked together. And it doesn't have to start big. Even small changes like taking transportation or using your own cup or tumbler when you go outside, and using a fan alongside your air conditioner, for example, saves energy a lot. I use a circulator fan along with the air conditioner, and it cools the whole house much faster. So what matters most is doing your part, not perfectly, but regularly. That's the important point. And I also believe that climate education for children is very important at this very moment. Today's awareness shapes tomorrow's choices for all of us. After all, climate change isn't just one person's problem, one person's homework. It's kind of a group project for all 8 billion of us, the entire global population. The planet won't fix itself, but we can do it together.
So as heat waves become more frequent and severe, it's a stark reminder that the climate crisis isn't just a future threat, it's a threat that's happening now. But even in the face of rising temperatures, small steps, whether it's cutting down energy use, staying informed, or speaking up, all of this can help us push for real change. And we're also conducting a program survey that includes News Generation to better meet our viewers' expectations. So please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the Arirang TV mobile app to share your valuable feedback. And by participating, you'll also have a chance to win Bluetooth earbuds and exclusive K-pop merchandise. And this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. A big thanks to Kyun.
Have a cool week.
You too. And Chuhyun.
Have a fresh week.
I hope so. I hope I do too. And thanks for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.